Well, I'm back live here at the Napa store. Made it back in and trying to get the week started off, seeing what we can get going. Oh man, my volume's not doing anything, is it? Testing one, two, three. Okay, there it goes up. All right. Thought my volume was bad off. Let me rearrange my microphone here so it's a little bit closer to me. I hope everybody's getting a good volume. We're excuse me, got a little bit of cold. I guess leaving the sunny south and headed north. I was getting a little bit different weather, so that's what I'm up against here. Thought I would jump online here and see if I can start chatting with some people. See what will come up this morning. I've not. I've had a couple of issues this morning. I had one of my drivers that broke both of his windshields early this morning by getting behind. He was behind somebody like an SUV, I think he said, and a big chunk of ice came off and hit both of his windshields. And when it did, it broke both of them, shattered one of them really, really bad. The second one is bad too. So I'm gonna have to replace as soon as he gets back in. I'm gonna have to let me turn this monitor here a little bit. I've got it cocked up here a little bit, funky looking. As soon as he gets back in, I'm gonna have to change out two windshields. But that's the life in the trucking business when you're trying to maintain a fleet. You get all kinds of different issues. I hope everybody's hearing me okay. I'm experimenting with a newer microphone. Hopefully it sounds good. So if somebody give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or chat and tell me how the volume is, I would appreciate it. If somebody wants to jump it. Hey, Paul. Okay, volume's good. Okay, well, great, Paul. Yeah, I'm trying to mentor or talk to several drivers out there, or potential drivers. I've had a lot of people since I kind of tied on. Red Viking Trucking interviewed me, and a lot of people were asking about some things. I've had a lot of people that have called me and emailed me and talked to me, and I don't mind helping the ones that I can when I can, and I hope I can be of some help. I think I'm gonna try to get on here and do a video of the do's and don'ts of FedEx Ground, how to become a contractor. And okay, I've got someone coming in there. I don't know if they need me or not. Hold on one second. I'm going to have to step away. I'm here at the office, so I may have to step away. It looks like I have a salesman needs to speak to me. I'll be right back. We don't sell makeup products. What? We don't. Appreciate it. Herb, although you could use a little bit of rouge. Oh, me. Oh, Lordy. Sorry about that. I had one of these salespeople. Hey, Sarge. I had to step out. I had two young guys came in and they were selling makeup, and I said, this is a parts store." No offense. Some of my guys could probably use some makeup, but I thought it was sort of hilarious. But anyway, that's where I'm at. That's a sort of a lively little thing there. Well, doing pretty good, Sarge. How about yourself? Are you hot shotting back out west again? And how's that F-350 doing you? Is it doing a pretty good job for you? I was curious about that. I may have to buy some more equipment myself. I've been curious about an F-350. I don't know if I want to get. I'm debating. We got the F-150 with the diesel, with the smaller diesel in it, that we've got as a company vehicle. It does pretty good, but I mean, it's not built for towing. It's built pretty good. I mean, it'll tow pretty good as a pickup goes, but it won't do hot shot work and everything else like that. It's more or less made for just a good pickup situation. Yeah, I tell you, it's when I see people like that drop into your store and everything, they're just in the area and they just happen to have something. They just want to. I don't know why he thought people in a parts store needed makeup, and I definitely wouldn't buy any kind of makeup for my wife. If I bought any, the only time I will buy makeup for my wife is if she sends me to the store and has it written out specifically what I'm supposed to buy. Good morning, Robert. How are you? Yeah, I'm trying to get some things arranged. I'm in my office here. My office is kind of all. I got it all teched up with all kind of things. So you'll my office is not quite as neat as my wife's office, and but it is what it is. I like it. I've got a lot of technical things here. I've got, if I could spin it around and show you, I have my multiple screens and everything, and I can get online. I can check a lot of different situations for my trucks, and of course my security. I've got all my security cameras up here, up above, and I've got 16 cameras here in the store that I can view at the same time. Hey, James, how are you? I hope everything's coming through good and clear here. Like I said, I'm a little bit under the weather. I'm gonna have to take something. I'm afraid I've got a little bit of a cold here, and I'm gonna move this microphone up. I got me a new microphone here from my office, and like I said, I hope it comes through good and loud and clear. And hopefully we can continue to use this one. I like this one. I hope everybody's got a good Monday morning started. Monday, like I said, I was telling you earlier, I had a driver that lost both his windshields earlier this morning. He called me about 2 hours ago, and he was explaining that a sheet of ice came off of a SUV in front of him going up 81 and blew right into his windshields. He said he couldn't avoid it, and broke both his windshields, one of them really bad. I'm hoping he's going to be able to make it back through the scales without being penalized, and they shut him down. That's my biggest fear, because they sometimes will say you can't drive with it like that. I mean, it's drivable. His driver's side windshield's fine, and he can see through it and everything, but it is shattered pretty bad. But it just happened. Well, that's good, James. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that you're going to be able to. Now that's USF Holland. I guess that'll help get you started in the industry then. Yeah, that's great. I'm glad to hear that. I mean, there are a lot of companies out there that can do different things like that. I have to adhere to what FedEx says. I mean, I can't deviate from what they want. I mean, their rules and regulations are such that I have to adhere to that, and I can't you know I can't sidestep it. I mean, every contractor in the system is held to the same rules. Yeah, I do. I've got to eat too, and I've got to be able to keep things rolling. And everybody out there has a little bit different situation. But I'd love to get good hustling qualified drivers into my system when I can. Not always able to do that. I got somebody else coming in here. Okay, I don't believe that guy needs my help. I'm trying to. I'm working in the background here at the store. I can kind of view things and see what's going on without having to actually participate in the day to day operation out there. Uh, okay. I'm just listening to that guy. We've been pretty busy this morning, which is great. I'm going to have to start hiring a few over here at the new Napa store too. We're getting busier and taking on a lot more clientele and everything else, and I want to kind of enhance my business over here at the Napa store. So uh, if you know anybody in the Cherryville area, I'm gonna probably be hiring some here too. Yep, it's time to hustle now, James. If you've got everything in order, and if you know once you have that, and once you get the experience under your belt, you're going to be in way better shape regardless. I mean, anything you do, uh, as far as driving and going ahead and getting your, put your feet on the floor, put yourself in the seat, or in other words, like say, put your old butt in the seat and get your experience. You're going to be in good shape. I mean, that's what it takes. Safety and get the experience. Now, I've had some guys. I'll call them the new hot dog, or the guys that want to just get out and try to be a super trucker. They're usually the ones that get themselves in trouble, and then they don't realize that these CSA violations and the tickets and everything else uh, will will come back to haunt them, not only in the job they're in, but any job they go forward with. So, always try to keep your driving record to the uh, in the best situation. Well, for one, it's going to cost you, and two, it could cost you dearly in the future too. Uh, I've had I've had drivers, like I said, come work for me. Oh yeah, I got the experience. I got this. I got that, and then you do the background check, and yeah, they've got the experience, but it's not always a good experience. They've got violations, and the thing that a lot of them are not realizing is CSA violations. Uh, some of these companies are looking at the individual drivers' CSA violations along with uh, your driver's license. So if you're cropped up there with a lot of CSA violations along with your driver's license violations, you're not going to be as uh, you're not going to look as good to the next employer. So everything kind of goes hand in hand. You need to keep everything in good order. Uh, and if you keep it in good order, you can move around and go to to better situations. And that's the thing. A lot of people are seeing that they don't have to stay uh, dormant in one particular job. I mean, you can take a job and get the experience, and then once you've got that experience, well, I appreciate that, James. We're trying to give valuable experience. I mean, I have about way more years than I like to admit, but I've got close to 50 years in the trucking business. Uh, I started as a teenager, and I was 17 years old when I started working for Carolina. I might have been 16. I'm trying to think back. I was either 16 or 17 when I started working for Carolina Freight. carriers here in my hometown, and that um, that was the way I got started in the trucking business. I was still in high school, and we were practicing football, and then after we practiced football, we went down to Carolina Freight and worked 3 or 4 hours loading freight. And then after that, I liked it, and when I graduated high school, I continued on. And as I was going to community college, and I continued on working, and then I got a job on the yard as a yard switcher, and that's how I got into the driving part of it as at a young age. So at 17 years old, I was switching trucks and backing in trucks to the dock and hooking trucks and that sort of stuff. Hey, Sarge, glad to see you back. Uh, but yeah, that's how that was my introduction to the trucking business. Now, my dad drove 38 years for Carolina Freight, so I was raised more or less in the trucking business. Uh, dad dad was first off was a line haul driver, and he got injured bad in a truck wreck when I was probably about 8 or 10 years old, and he got out of the long haul, and he made a decision not to be involved. He didn't want to be in a team situation anymore. He wanted to be more local, so he took a cut in pay and stayed home with his 4 boys. And I was grateful for that because that way we had dad at home every day, and we were able to learn a lot. And plus, then after that, he bought a farm on the other side of town, and we grew up working on the farm and doing things like that. So it all around, it was a great learning experience for us, and uh, don't regret a minute of it. Well, that sounds great, James. James, how old are you? Now, I think you said you told me one time you're retired military, aren't you? Or came out of the military, either retired or came out of the military. I'm not. I'm not. I should. Okay, you're 44. Okay, well you're about my son's age. My son, I got a son that's 45. So yeah, you're at right. You're at a good age to get in trucking for a career, and I think you'll do fine. You'll bode well. Okay, you retire from the military this year or on reserve? Is that what it is? I it has done well for me, Sarge. I can't complain. Uh, those of you that have followed me for the months that I've been online and everything else, I like I said, I started. You miss active duty. Yeah, my dad was military. My dad was in the army. He was in the 82nd Airborne. Dad was. I'm real. I've always been proud of my dad. He was a member of Eisenhower's honor guard. We've got pictures of Dad, and he also uh, fought in the Battle of the Bulge. If you're a history nut or a military person, you know what I'm talking about with the Battle of the Bulge and World War II. And Dad did that. He never did talk about it much. He was uh, we used to we used to ask him when I was a young kid. I used to ask him, Dad, were you a hero? And he always said, No, son. He said, we buried the heroes. And so that was my dad's opinion of things like that. He um, yeah. Um, well, yeah, I guess the deployments, you either like them or you don't, or you like them. Military. I guess I've never been in the military. My youngest brother is the only one of us 4 boys that served in the military, and he he was able. He was in the military and almost had to go to Vietnam. He got in on the tail end of the Vietnam era, and they were uh, pulling troops back from Vietnam when he was getting in. He's a little bit younger. He's 4 years younger than me, and I was right in the Vietnam era, but I was in college. And if I've ever won anything, I won one thing. Me and my brother, just older than me, we both had very high lottery numbers in the lottery. I'm gonna have to answer this as my mechanic. Yeah, Larry. Did you what do you think it is? Starter? Mag switch? Oh, you think it's the clutch switch wire on that one too? All right, well check that. But okay, now that one is the one though, Larry. When it gets hot, in other words, he can run it for 30 minutes, and if you cut it off, you can't crank it back. So check that. Check the starter good, and check the. Uh, were you able to jump across the starter and get it started? Oh, you did it across the clutch switch wire and it worked. Okay, well, check all that wire and have Jason follow up behind you there if you can. All right, and I guess now we had that one in for service just a week or so ago, didn't we? Okay, well, just um, if you will, just follow up on that, and I'll talk to you later. We're at to now. Did Jim get um, uh, Sean lined up for those windshields? Okay. Well, we'll get that truck in tomorrow. And long as now we'll need this truck back tonight though, because since that one lost its windshields, I'm gonna have to definitely have that one back running tonight if it's possible. Okay. Yeah, that'd be the way to do it. Yeah, it'd be later on this afternoon because he ran to he had to go all the way up into Virginia pretty far. He had I can't even think of the name of that butthead, but he's on his way back. But it's about a five. He's 5 hours out anyway. All right, see you. All right. Well, I'm sorry, guys. Um, James, you and Sarge can chat among yourself. I've had to do some trucking business there at the same time, but this is the way my day goes. Yeah, it's we're when we're working like this, I'm out here, like I said, I'm in my office and I've kind of got a two-way mirrors over here so I can watch the store and then or turn around and watch the cameras if I need to. And where, as a matter of fact, I'm gonna look at something right quick. Yeah, I think we're good on everything. But um, yeah, this the trucking business, it's a good business. I think it's a real good business, especially if you don't want to. I mean, a lot of people. Hey, Ponka, how are you doing? Glad to see you in here. Uh, yeah, the trucking business has been very good for me. I can't complain. I mean, it's something that I would stay at least a year if it were me, James. I mean, that's my opinion. Once you get a year, I mean, a full, complete year under your belt, then your insurances will be better. Uh, just a lot of different things will be better for you if you have the less experience you have, the more expensive it's going to be on you to be an owner operator. I mean, they judge you on a lot of different things, and you're going to find real quick when once going out to be an owner operator uh, is expensive. I mean, really expensive. I mean, there's a lot of expense that you'll incur before you even make the first dollar. I mean, you better be prepared to spend out a lot for your own authority. Of course, your own trucks, your own insurance. There's there's a multitude of expenses that you're going to incur that you won't even imagine. I mean, uh, for instance, an average, if you get a good average used truck, you're going to spend 50 grand probably. Well, okay, I'm kind of going through that right now. Yeah, it, like Sarge is a hot shot driver, and he does over the road hot shot work. Uh, you know, you'd bode well getting your tractor trailer experience because even if you go into hot shot, uh, you're. I mean, I don't know what they're. Yeah, if you're wanting to go with big rigs, you need that year's experience because every company that you go to work for, even a company that you want to lease on to, will want that experience. And if you do that, uh, then the doors open up a little bit better than it would be if you're just trying to do everything by yourself. And you will find real quick if you're working for somebody else, you're going to find out the good, the bad, and the ugly of running a truck. Even the big, as say you're on with USF Holland, you're going to find out real quick uh, their problems that they have, either internally or mechanically, and everything else. Yeah, yeah, you're going to have a large investment. Uh, it's not as easy as some would like to make it sound. So you want to get in there and you know get the experience first. You could probably yeah, I'm saying 50K for it. Well, it depends on your credit. I mean, you can. I mean, when I was saying 50K, that's 50K financing a truck. Of course, if you've never owned a truck, then you're going to be getting the higher rates. You're going to be getting the a little more scrutiny than somebody like me. Uh, Fortunately, I'm in my situation. I can call up. I mean, I went. I bought 7 trucks, a couple of months ago. Didn't take much of anything, but I've got 30 years of credit that they can check too, and they know my credit's A1. So once you get to my, I mean, it's a double edged sword. It's easier for me to get things like that for my corporation than it would be the average guy. The average guy is most of them are going to struggle a little bit. Yeah. Well, yeah, I've got a good contact in the parts world. I got a good. I've maintained a lot of. I've maintained a lot of different good contacts, and you don't ever want to burn any bridge. Uh, so I'd scratch my old head here. Uh, just keep your nose clean. Yeah, I got you, Sarge. Uh, yeah, keep your nose clean. And hey, JC, yeah, or do like JC. JC struggles with everything he says. Don't believe him on it. JC's a hustler on everything. JC's a guy that jumps in there and uh, he's going to make. He reminds me. I guess I kid him about this. Like if you remember the old Newhart show, anything for a buck. JC's going to jump in there. He's going to do anything for a buck. His mind is turning a million miles an hour every time he turns around. He's got 50 million ideas, this, that, and the other, and how to make a buck, and that's what it takes. That's a hustler. That's somebody that hustles, knows what their objectives are and what they're going to do, and sticks with it. Yeah. Well, I hope you can learn some. Yep, that's right. If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. And you can spell that both ways, can't you, JC? You can do it SENSE or CENTS. Sense, that sense also. Uh, and you want it to make both cents and dollars. And you don't, or like JC's famous saying, he don't want to be picking up nickels and miss dollars. So, or some sort of variation of that. So, that's what you got to do. I mean, you're in a hustling world. If you're going to get into this, and you want to be an owner operator or anything, you need to learn to hustle. You need to learn to get out there and make, first off, like I said, keep your nose clean, keep your driving record clean, and make sure that you keep your credit good too. Yep. Yeah, he wants those dead inventors. Uh, he doesn't want presidents. He wants dead inventors. So y'all know the first dead inventor on paper, don't you? That's Benjamin Franklin. So yeah, he wants a pile of Franklins. But yeah, keep your credit as your credit score is going to be your most valuable thing going forward. Now, it's good if you can save money and you can use your money. The more of your own money that you use, but I wouldn't undercapitalize myself. You get into the trucking business, you're going to have working capital, and that's the key to it. If you don't have the working capital, if you don't have the working capital, you're going to be defeating. Well, you're going to hurt yourself. There's a lot of people can get into trucking. There's not a lot of people that can stay in the trucking if they don't have the working capital. Now you can start off small. You can, if you can get you into a situation where you can get one truck or two trucks or whatever. Yeah, I'll give you for instance on that. I had an old boy I used to work with at Carolina Freight, and we used to kid him about credit and everything and doing everything. So he said, credit. He said, I got all kind of credit. Most of it's bad, but I got all kind of credit. So we or like he used to say, we used to kid him. They used to have with the Beam family. They used to have a couple of almost, I guess, family stores, you might say. Dewey Beam, who was one of the founders of Carolina Freight, and Greer Beam, they one of them owned a Chevrolet dealership, one of them owned a Chrysler dealership, and Dewey also had an appliance store and everything with it too. And some of the people that worked at Carolina Freight, they would get in hock or in debt with the company store, basically. So, yeah, we used to kid this same particular guy. And we said, Bub, you got to straighten up. Said, they'll fire you if you don't straighten out. And he was laying out and doing a lot of different things. He said, huh? He said, I ain't worried about my job. He said, I owe them a whole lot more money than they owe me. So that was his attitude. His attitude was just go ahead and get in debt by them, and they wouldn't dare fire him because he owed them too much money, which was about the truth. I mean, he owed them for cars and pickups and wash machines and all kind of different appliances. And I guess they looked at their bottom line, and if they saw his name pop up, they'd say, "Oh God, we got to keep him employed so he can pay us off." It is. It is a very much a balancing act, Sarge. You've got to, we're not all given a silver spoon. We're not all given a boatload of money, and we will have to manipulate this world on what we build as an individual. And unless you win the lottery and get a whole ton of money, you're going to have to do it the hard way as everybody else does. And that's being consistent and working hard. And if you get a chance to work overtime, work overtime. Get money in your pocket and use it wisely. Don't jump out there and you know, the last person you want to pay is yourself as far as luxuries or whatever. In other words, um, I know for years, my wife and I gave very little to each other for Christmas because we were, we were struggling and trying to build a business, and we gave to our children, but we didn't spend frivolously on ourselves. I mean, we pulled back on ourselves, and that's the way I kind of dealt with it. And that's I try to get myself ahead. And I worked as I was my own first driver. Drove as many hours as I could, and different things like that. So it's different. You've got to once you get out there and once you get going, you most people will struggle. I mean, I don't know very many people that will jump into a wonderful situation. And I mean, I was in I think a very good situation as far as owner operator, but it was still work. Of course, I did it when I was young. I started as a owner operator when I was about trying to think 36. I think I was 36 years old when I started as an owner operator, and I did well with it. I can't complain. Went one truck to two trucks to three trucks, and then at that juncture, three trucks was all I could get with FedEx. Well, it was RPS back then, and then I went from three trucks up to five trucks, and that was the max they would let us go at that point. And all during that time, you want to have steady growth, and you want to be able to have maintainable growth. I mean, that's the thing about it. I with a company like FedEx and RPS back then, they have strict rules, and that's what I was up against. I had to be within their rules and regulations and make sure that uh, yep. Oh, I agree with you on that, Sarge. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. There's, well, 44 is a good time. I mean, you've got some experience under your belt. You're not mature. I mean, you're not immature, excuse me. Uh, in the 30s, I think a lot of people are still immature, although I wish I had started even earlier into this. But the opportunities changed as I evolved in it. So it really wouldn't have probably changed the outcome of where I'm at and what I've done. I had to kind of go along with the change in operation and saw an opportunity as I was going. And that's what you have to deal with is being able to change with the times. And I'm still changing with the times as I see it now. Uh, dinged by something here. Let me see what it is right quick. I've got okay, nothing important. My wife can handle that. But I uh, let me get back to what I was doing here. I'm gonna read the comments. Yeah, I think so too. Like JC said, I mean, you're 44 is a good age. You're more mature. You know where you stand on things. A lot of people have their families established well by then. Uh, you're not getting babies and diapers and everything else and trying to do things you should have at that point in your life. You should have some good insurance. You should have some good opportunities to as far as establish your home and your cars and everything. That by that time most people are fairly mature, and that's why I said that's not a bad age. uh, I started a little bit younger than that, and and my immaturity, I would say, when I first started, although I kept it pretty tight, but I was like everybody else. You would do foolish things sometimes. Yeah, that's right. I mean, like JC said, yeah, you're 44 is a good age. I think 43, 44, 42, somewhere in there. Most people have got some maturity, and you're not wanting to be flashy. I see a lot of people get in trouble trying to be too flashy and trying to be, you know, uh, I guess, show off and everything else. I mean, there's nothing wrong with having nice things once you can afford them. And I like to have nice things even now too. I'm not foolish, and I like to be able to, but I like to keep a good balance of everything that I'm doing, whether it's for myself or my wife or my family and everything. I want to have a good balance. Yeah, exactly. Like Sarge said, you don't want the testosterone to, or you get my age, you got whole lot less of that anyway. So that'll change a lot too. The older you get, I had a good friend of mine that's my age, and he was saying, he says, why is it with, he said, now we got money, uh, we don't have the desire to have all the women that we wanted to when we were young. He said, when we were young, we could get all the women we wanted to, but we didn't have the money. And I said, well, I said, that's probably uh, the good Lord's looking after us there. He's smart enough to let us know that if we had all the testosterone and desires and everything when we were younger, we'd probably lose every penny we had. So he slows us down in one area and still keeps our mind straight and everything else in the other. And hopefully we can hang on to what we've built. And that's sort of the mindset that I'm in right now. I'd hate to, I would hate to think and compare my younger days of what I thought was top priority and what I think is top priority today. And as you get older, you will mature. Yeah, and I'm the same way. And JC's right about that. I never ever stopped thinking, well, how can I make some more money? Because I try to. I mean, and I'm not doing it in a greedy way. I'm trying to do it in a productive way that says, okay, if I take this resource and I use this to the max, I can make X amount of dollars. And that's what I try to do, is to maximize my resources. Well, good morning. It's Mike instead of Mark, but that's all right. Unless you're talking to somebody else in here that's Mark. I don't know if there's another Mark in here or not. But right, yeah, and that's it. Is the efficiency of it is to be efficient and make sure that what you're doing is not non-productive and everything. Well, yeah, I think somebody wrote a book by that name, James, Think and Grow Rich, and you can read that and get some good information about it. And yeah, it's Mike. Yeah, yeah, it's typo. I have a nephew named Mark, but I'm Mike, and I've got my son is Junior. Of course, he goes with Steve, and my grandson's Michael, and we got him going by Michael. Yeah, yeah, well, there's a lot of those, and you can read some from Zig Ziglar and some of these other guys that write these motivational books like that. And we all can be motivated in a different ways. That's one reason I like these channels. I feel like these channels that we've got out here on YouTube, that if you get on to the right people that have the life experiences that you feel like's beneficial, then I feel like you can learn from some. I hope what knowledge that I have that and I've conveyed to people uh, that it's been beneficial to them. I've had a lot of phone calls in the past few months and the past few weeks, and we're getting a lot of emails each day, and I'm trying to reach out to everybody that I can, and that's a good thing. Yeah, yeah. Well, you can't beat the good book, that's for sure. The good book will keep you on the straight and narrow, and so I mean that's always a good thing to get yourself involved with. I mean, I'm not a ultra religious person, uh, but I try to live my life religiously as far as uh, doing the right things. Uh, I'm not there at the church every time it opens. My mother-in-law is, so maybe I'll get some of her credit. My daughter takes my mother-in-law to church at least 4 to 5 times a week. Right. And that's what I've tried to do in my life. I'm not a smoker, never have been, never drank, and I've never done drugs. And if you can do those things, and I try to teach my grandson that stay away from that. And he's at that vulnerable age right now. He's 13, 13, almost 14, and he's really at the age that he's very impressionable. I'm gonna have him out working in the store this summer. I'm gonna make him do some real time work instead of just playing with his thumbs on a computer. Oh, Swift made you what illegal run did they make you do? Run over the hours? I mean, there's always the yeah Swift. I don't. I think Swift's reputation is not good. I mean, I don't know personally. The only personal thing I had a run in with a Swift driver at my turnaround in my parking lot about 15 years ago. Turned around and tore up something in my parking lot, and I stopped him, and he got into a little scuffle with me. So I end up. That's the only time I've ever dealt with a Swift driver, and he thought he could just wheel into my parking lot, tear up my ditches with his tractor and his trailer, spin around, mess up the asphalt, and keep on digging. And uh, I stopped him. I got out in front of him and stopped him, and then stand beside his trucks. And he smarted off to me. He says, "Well, I'm just going to take off." Well, I just reached back and grabbed the air hose and jerked his airlines loose. And I stopped him right on the spot. He had to stop then. Yeah, they are. The Swift goes through a lot, and this driver I think got fired after this incident too. He took a swing at me and everything, and I basically had to take him to court. But that's the way it works sometimes. That's the way it works. You get they want a warm body in the truck. You had 3.5 hours remaining on your fort, and they required me to run to Knoxville on your 14. Okay. All right. Now, if it has adverse weather conditions, you can go up to 16, but you can't go over more than 11 continuous. I mean, they will let you have. There is a one time a week provision within your uh, hours that you can run 11, but you still can't go over exceed 11 hours driving. You can be over your 14. You can go up to 16. if it was adverse conditions. That would be the thing to do. Yeah, yeah, I know. Well, it's you don't have to tell me about it. 5 p.m. Atlanta traffic. I know exactly where you're coming from. I have 3 trucks that go in that direction every day, and it's tough. I was talking with the regional manager out with FedEx out of Atlanta, and he was talking about that too. Very same thing. He had to go do a meeting just north of Atlanta in Brazelton, Georgia, and he was talking about it takes him 2 hours to get from the terminal up to Brazelton, and he got caught in traffic going back in his car, and took him 5 hours to get back. Yeah. Well, the adverse conditions could be traffic. I mean, it does not have to be. It does not have to be just snow or ice or anything like that. I mean, it could be traffic delays. I mean, you were saying Atlanta. Well, thank you, James. Well, that's true too. You know, that's that they can get into that because you got me some packages. Okay, thank you, hon. You already got lunch.
Yeah.
Where'd y'all go?
Rona.
Roma. Oh, okay.
I wanted the pizza.
Okay. Okay. She wanted. Okay. Well, I'll take care of myself. Unless you want to go get me something. Can you?
I can.
Can you go get me something at Malcolm's? Can you give me a grilled chicken up at Malcolm's?
Grilled chicken
Sandwich.
sandwich.
Yeah, just give me a grilled chicken sandwich, if you will,
Okay.
up at Malcolm's.
All right.
All righty. So you already opened this up to see what it was.
Yeah,
Huh?
I did because I didn't know if it was.
All right.
I saw it.
Saw it was my stuff.
Yeah, and I thought it needed to be over here too. That's why.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that other one needs to be here. I think I got everything out. Yeah, you can go ahead and throw that away there.
Okay.
Thank you, hon. Yeah, just go ahead and order that and bring me back one if you will.
All right.
All right, see you. Sorry about that, guys. My daughter came in to bring me some packages. Yep. I've got to get some more. Getting my Amazon stuff. Had to get me a new charger from my Mac. My little wire on the end's about to break off. I hope this is the right one. We'll see. That, and I had to get me some memory cards. I always doing my Amazon shopping. You know how that goes. Here I am with FedEx. Of course, I like shopping Amazon because they fill up our FedEx trucks. And if not that, they fill up my Amazon trucks. So I got it both ways. So I don't know which, that filled up the brown trucks. That came UPS. Either way, keep things rolling. Keep things rolling. Yeah, the rule, like I said on that, they can run you up to 16 with adverse conditions. Now a lot of guys don't realize that, but that is the running rule on that. But if they can only do it once a week, I mean, it can't be something that's done every day. I mean, that's once a week with adverse conditions, and adverse conditions can be traffic. I mean, if there's a traffic tie up, if there's a wreck and on 85 or something like that, in which there are 75 out of Atlanta or 85 out of Atlanta, 285, and that is a normal thing. And that's one reason they put that in there, because they realize, you wouldn't even have a chance to get back home sometimes with that. And I've had to use it. Not all. I don't use it every week, and I don't use it with every driver. And most drivers want to get back home. I mean, that's it in a nutshell. They want to be able to get back home. Yeah, yeah. DOT will let you know, but it's easy to find out too. Usually, I mean, you can even if it's traffic types and everything, you know, they can they can go online and see if you're, you know, if that's so. I mean, that's what we usually do. I mean, but anybody that runs Atlanta traffic knows that's almost a daily occurrence. I mean, or a full time occurrence. Atlanta traffic is just a nightmare. And if you hit 5 o'clock traffic in Atlanta, you're going to be subjected to adverse conditions. You're going to be sitting in 6 lanes of traffic and 8 lanes of traffic going nowhere. I know, been there, done that. You can hit it at 8 o'clock in the morning or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And we try our best to stay away from those uh, times if we can, because that's exactly what happens. And I wasn't even thinking here, guys. You probably just seeing the top of my head. I'm over here messing with my little adapter I got here and everything. And let me check in with Richard here right quick. You headed to lunch?
I'm headed to lunch, Captain Con. I
All
got
right.
all the belts hung up back there.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Well, that's great.
Just made me places and I put them in order.
Well, that's all we can do.
Yeah.
That's
and
all.
There may be more coming. We may have to move them around a little bit. But
Well, and we may have to. I guess the next big thing is we're going to probably have to get all those rotors and move those rotors over into those big shelves. Don't you think?
yeah, they need to go on them big shelves. We can get more on them. We can anywhere else.
Anywhere else?
Yeah. I mean, you can stack them on them. I mean, you know.
Yeah, we can stack them. We can stand them up and stack them.
Yeah, stand them up, and you can get way more on that.
Okay.
If you can move a couple of them over there, of course, we need the sheets so we can put them in order.
Yeah. Well, it should be that packing slip. We'll get up with Jason on that before we do it. But I hate to lose a sale on those things by having to dig through back there.
I know it. I know. We could have already lost some. We had a guy come in the other day looking for some.
Looking for some rotors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For Plymouth. Well, I think we ordered them for him, but
yeah, we probably had them back there. Now that's the sad thing. I don't want to have them back there and then order some and then.
And you may never sell them another set of them.
Yeah,
6 months or a year.
6 months. Yeah, I know it. But yeah, we'll work on getting that organized if we can.
But
do you mind getting checked out to help me part time up here?
No.
All right. Well, I'm because of that boy changing like that on me. I'm gonna have to do that.
Well,
so
I can help them out when they need help.
Yeah, we may need on Fridays. Well, he was doing Friday and Saturday, and I'm gonna probably try to get myself acclimated to Saturdays too on some of that. And because, but if I can I'm gonna check on get me another part time. I mean, I was ready to bump that boy up, but he just all of a sudden he got that offer and he decided he wanted to move on. And he was wishy-washy with me. He kept saying, well, I'm going to school. Well, next thing you know, he says, well, I need a full-time job. And so I took this. I said, you didn't come to me. But
makes sense.
He's immature. He's 19 or 20, whatever. You know, he just he is what he is. He's like a ping pong ball out there. You've seen him. He bounces around.
Man, I know it. I don't like working with him.
Oh, that's right. He dropped stuff on you, didn't he? Yeah.
Well, not just me. Me. Who else was helping? That stuff, and they kept telling me, slow down, man. You're going too damn fast. You pulling it off of the pulley back here.
Yeah, I know.
It was something long. I forget now what it was.
No, I know. I've had
part of it on one dolly and part of it on hand trucks.
Yeah,
it was. And we was trying to move it, and he was just. I mean, he was going like he was in a car.
Yeah, I know it. I know, and that's one of the things I tried to caution him. I said, you know, pace yourself, get and do it. You know, if you have to take 2 trips, take 2 trips. Don't try to pile it all up real high and then drop. He did the same thing out there. I forgot when we were moving some of those cabinets and everything a couple months ago. He piled up a bunch of the cabinets and then dropped it and then chipped the floor out there. And then we had to.
Ain't no point in making a mess. To save 30 seconds.
Save 30 seconds or less.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
But I'll be back shortly.
All right, you headed let the dogs out.
I'm gonna let the dog out, and I'm gonna pick up Mike, and we're gonna grab a sandwich or something, and then
okay.
Be back.
All right, I'll see you then.
All right, bud.
See ya.
See ya.
Yeah, guys, I had one of my young boys that was working part time for me that uh, he didn't, he never, he's a smart young boy, but we were talking about immaturity a while ago, and that's a perfect example. The boy is intelligent, but his he's ADD, something terrible. He's all over the place, and uh, someday he'll make somebody a good employee. But right now he he's really enthusiastic, but he's hot and cold. He he gets out there and he goes 90 miles an hour, and then when he makes a mistake, he wonders why. And that's yeah, he's 19 or 20, yeah, something like that. He just and he got married. And I feel for him because I did the same thing. I got married young like that. He got married. He married a girl from Canada, and now he's got to make enough to make sure that he keeps her so they don't deport her, I guess you might say, or something. I don't know exactly what his issue is with that, but it is what it is. It is what it is. But he's a yeah. He's just going to have to be. You got married young too, didn't you, JC? You're like me. We both got married young. Uh, I got married at 19 myself. Was I 19 or 18? I can't even remember. I was either 18 or 19 when I got married. Right out of a year out of high school. I hadn't been out of high school but a year. I was in college, my freshman year in college, and got married. Thought that was the greatest thing. Well, it is for if your hormones are running 120 miles an hour, I guess it is the greatest thing. If I could have some of that back, I'd like to have it right now. I don't have the energy now. Maybe that's what it is, Sarge. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. JC's been married 26 years, and I'm coming up on 49. This is my 49th year this year. So I'm getting up there in the age as far as being married. Uh, I'm real happy with my life. As I can't see me not being married to my wife. She's been a jewel, and JC's got a jewel too. Miss Brenda's a real good girl. Got to meet her about a month ago, and she's a sweet girl. She's about the size of my wife too. They're both 5 foot nothing. Also, you've been through the immigration deal too. Okay, where did your wife immigrate from? Yeah, yeah. I've got the situation with one of my drivers like that. He actually took off time and went to the Philippines and married a girl from the Philippines, and he has got to get her back over here. She's not even over here yet, but he went over to the Philippines and married a girl. Oh, your wife is from Thailand. Okay, yeah. Well, that's good. I mean, and we're all talking about immigration and everything nowadays, and all these crazy people are worried about the border and everything else. And I keep telling them, I said, I'm not against anything that's legal. The illegal part is it's just it's a slap in the face to anybody that's gone through the legal procedure and done their job right. When you have them doing that, and then you have the others that feel like they can crawl under the fence or the border or whatever and get in here illegally, that's not right. I mean, people keep saying, "Oh, well, don't you have some sympathy?" I said, "Let me explain. The word illegal is enough for me. If you're doing something illegal, it's illegal. Yeah. Well, that's good. Yeah, there's a lot of people. I remember a good friend of mine. He uh, he was half Korean. His dad was in the Korean War and married his mother and came over. And he was one of the nicest guys I was in school with. He was only with me I think a year or two, but super nice kid. Everybody really liked him. And he was half Korean, half American, and his mother, was a real pretty lady and everything, and just everybody is different on that, and it's great that we've got a society like this that can do that. But I like people to do it legally. I mean, it's just a slap in the face. And I have three drivers that all three of them came over here legally, and they're against people sneaking across the border because it's a slap in the face for them that they came over legally, uh, were now are citizens, or some of them are working to be citizens, and they've gone through all the procedures, and the other people feel like they can slide across and then beg for forgiveness uh, because they did something illegally. Yeah, she's smart as heck, then, isn't she? Can you get me a drink in the back? I hope we have some. Uh, well, that was great. My daughter, my girl Friday, my daughter, she went and got me a sandwich. Guess where I got that sandwich, JC? I bet you know. You have been there before. That's right. Yeah. Yeah, I'm all for the legal process. I'm not, like I said, I'm just not. It is a slap in the face. I think that anybody that's done the thing right. Well, thank you, hon. Yeah, I think that's lots of burger. Well, actually got a grilled chicken sandwich today, but I got it from my buddy Malcolm up there. He's right up the street. He makes a good sandwich for me. Yeah, that's the way I look at it. I mean, I'm not for illegal immigration. I like for the things to be legal. I want to, you know, we are a homogenous nation. We're a nation of immigrants. I've got, of course, I kid some people. They say where they I had somebody fussing about it the other day. Said, "Well, your family's from somewhere else or whatever. Where's your family from?" I said, "Right here. I'm part Cherokee." So they said, "Well, the other part wasn't Cherokee." I said, "Well, that's right." I said, "But had they not come, I'd been all Cherokee." So, so I look at it in that respect too. But I'm part Cherokee, I'm part German, I'm part Scott Irish, part English. You know, and we're a mixture. Most people are. Most people are. Well, guys, my lunch is here, so you know where I'm going to eat lunch, and uh, like some people say, it's that's right. You should be able to. Most people should be able to do it legally. It's just the ones that try to shortcut it and then get away with it. That's the hard part. Well, guys, I'm gonna eat my lunch, and I will see y'all later. I've enjoyed chatting with everybody this morning. Maybe I'll catch you out here on the flip side.